So let's take you to Ohiamadrin in the Shama district of the Western region, where Galamsey activities are affecting our farmlands.
That this area happens to be the hub of rice farming over here in the Shama district. And I'm told that several of these farms you see over here are being affected by the activities of Galamsey. And today, we just want to find out the extent of the destruction or the impact of Galamsey activities over here on the many farms you see within the catchment of the Ohiamadrin area. This is Wind River, one of the irrigated river bodies we have within the Ohiamadrin community, and it was actually constructed to actually provide adequate water, or should I say fresh water, for the irrigation of rice farms within this area. But unfortunately, this very irrigated river seems to have also been impacted by the activities of Galamsey, and the farmers have issues with using this very polluted river for their farms. And today, I just want to talk to one of them to find out the issues they have with the state of the river and its impact on their farming activities over here.
2010. Na tamis na breso. No, irrigated farm. Inland valley irrigation for no mobile yen dam man. Into my phone so kakraka daha. Be 150 acres. No more yakam. Pharmacy ya weduma. Into my way I nyansu. Then soon you're fine and it's fine. To me 2 times in a year. To me bois, yenya be share more from an idea. If we ya Galamsey for no, o ma say nsuo inti ye be fu ma yenya nsuo no. Nsuo no so ye de ma no ba no so ya mmo na ye rice farmers a ye yam. Ye de ma mmo no so a mmo no benya yare na obi di so a obewu. Inti nsuo no a yen close nsuo no ma family bi. Ye fu no inti ye twa na suro nsu se nsu no to a na ye di yam no ye ya no krope wa afi krom na nsu anto so a na mu no nyina ase na ye boka inti ye sa na ye pese ye se ye sra ban umbrem na o ma Galamsey fu no mo ye no ye edwuma wo nsuem nsu na ya poto no o mo ma mo nja edwuma sa edwuma ne ye na ye so efu ye so no ye Shama district no ye hia organization center de combine tractors power tillers ebe brain ye tumi edwuma na FFF sisi aye mu na ye kra no ye fe free ye combine fi water region transport na ye de ba no bi o moji 10,000 transport no anse no ma ba twa ya mo ebi o ye kwa so tware anse no yakofa combine ye se ye mu abrebre ye nya combine bi ama ne ntwa mo nti ye tutu sra ban
problem ye hia ne sesi ade yan fa say wialo bo ode ye water enuama no emu na ode ye se nsu fifie ye fa drums abobo ya watch nsu ebi wa kia na load container bebre ahoma chi na egbu nsu ni hina nti egbu nsu ni hina ma drum no ya ma driver ne be charge ansa na wona wole bo abesesa we spray nsu no nso wa agiska nti da made hina ka ona meche de e ka bebre na sisi an farmers no ye rinya ebe ya hebe ma nsu taa o nsu yentumi ensa wonsu anya de nsu ni ho wa ye bibia kama o de anka ye ya na ye ebo nsu mo onam obia na hebem na onam de nsu no onye ma ye use ndie mu nti o de se nsu e wo fe bi o ka tum baba etre na tre ye boni sika kwa ye sika kakraba e bi o 1,002 a day nti said 1 week na water anya ka kakraba nti am message de abanim brem no onboboy na Galamsey sem no so wona wo ye Galamsey mo so ho no ye hu awon ko no nti hina na chida aban na wotu nkofo ma wakoso ho wakohwe awon na wo ye damade no so wo de wesu na ano kwan a wesu ma ye adwuma no otum ye yi sisale emu ye 2 times nde ye no wa na apo ya me aye wa adoma obese.
This is a 150-acre rice farm here in the Ohiamadrin area of the Shama district of the Western region, where it is employing about 45 farmers into this rice farm. And the concern as expressed over there is the fact that because of the pollution they've actually stopped using the polluted irrigated water that should have actually come through this very irrigated portion. And as you can see, it is very much dry because they are not allowing the irrigated water to come here for fear of pollution of the rice over here. And as a result, they are struggling in getting water for this very farm. It is because of this that the Ghana Association of Peasant Farmers is actually calling on the government to immediately find a solution to this concern that the rice farmers have here in the Ohia margin area of the Shama district.
This has impacted the production of rice in the Shama district. And the Shama district also contributes to the national production of rice. So if it's affecting the rice production here, it means nationally the rice production in the country is being affected. And this will even lead to more imports. The last time we were looking at the rice import bill in Ghana, it was quite pathetic. And I know it is government policy for Ghana to become self-sufficient in rice production in the next few years. And if we are supposed to do that, we cannot become self-sufficient in rice production by depending on rain-fed agriculture. So government should quickly, as a matter of agency, take the steps to stop Galamsey activities on the water bodies. Government should also, as a matter of agency, invest in infrastructure, particularly in machinery, combine harvesters, and other implements that the farmers need to be able to expand, because there are many more areas that can be brought under cultivation. But if government doesn't invest in those areas, it's very difficult for us. And we are even concerned about the jobs. We need to create jobs for the people around.
This is the main mailing point here in the Ohiama Journey community here in the Shama district. And over here, most of the rice that is actually farmed within the catchment of this community finds its way here for milling. And as you can see, these are some of the rice that have actually come from the farm in bags. And over here, we have the operators of the mill actually investing in this very machine. And it is from this that they also make their money. And whatever that happens in terms of, the farming business also impact on them. And with whatever the concerns that the farmers have, we also want to find out from the millers over here whether it is in any way impacting on their business.
But any issue, but it's no mono, unbelievable. I'm not machine is so. Why you quite? The baby to John Momoa. Answer to me as more, but the bear more about saying to me. For the
Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana and rice farmers within the Ohia margin area of the Shama district, any further delay by government in intervening in the continuous pollution of this very irrigation project by Galamsey activities will mean a collapse of the rice farming industry here in the Shama district. For ChannelOne TV News, I'm Akwasi Annim, Ohia margin.
So there you heard it from our colleague in the Western region, Akwasi Annim, from the Ohia Margin community in the Western region, where essentially Galamsey activities is fast affecting rice production in the area. You know, it's a more troubling situation for us because in 2022, the country exported rice worth about $318 million. Right, $318 million. And you ask yourself what we could have used this money for, right, if we had a functioning or a proper rice production in the country. And it's you know, people talk about the capacity of local farmers, the technical know-how and all of that, right? But the point is that even the few ones that are around who are trying to help the situation, we are not helping them, right? Because of some of these instances of Galamsey that's happening. And can you guess where the countries we import the most rice from?
Vietnam.
Yeah.
China.
Yeah. There's a very common one.
There's a very common one.
Yeah.
And those are the only two I can think of.
Well, there's Thailand. So there's
Thailand.
Vietnam, which you mentioned correctly, where we import $230 million worth of rice, dollars worth of rice from. Second is India, $30.8 million. There's Thailand, you know, the whole Thailand rice. So there's $24.7 million. There's China, like you rightly mentioned, $11.2 million. And guess the fifth country where you import the most from? Cote d'Ivoire, next door neighbor,
Next door.
right? So it doesn't make for pleasant here.
Right. But let's speak. Let's go over the line and speak to
Mr. Roland
yes,
Pra, who is
Mr. Jesse Roland Pra. He's the CEO of Roland Rice, and his farm has been deeply affected. Thank you so much for your patience and for joining us on Sunday Breakfast.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to our cherished viewers. My name is Jesse Roland Price, you mentioned earlier, the CEO of Roland Rice.
Wow. So, Mr. Pra, I don't even know where to start from. Tell us, how affected is your farm? You know, how much of Galamsey activities has affected your farm?
Okay, so you could see that with rice production, we use a lot of water. So we depend on the river bodies along the farms. So the activities of Galamsey is being done upstream, and which has really changed the color of the river bodies. I remember years ago, when you stand on the embankment or the dam or our reservoir, you could even see the fishes in the water. But nowadays, you can't even see any living creature within. So it means that even all the creatures in our rivers, they are dying off, or they are not willing to even stay in the river anymore. So this is the same river that we use on our farms. We use it to till the land because we do the transplanting. So you need to bring in a lot of water to till the land, to make the land very soft, to be able to transplant. Now, this river has been polluted, so it contains a lot of mercury, heavy metals, which is not good for rice production. Rice itself is a crop that needs clean and needs water. Aside that, we also use insecticides and even the weedicides. All these chemicals, you need to mix it with clean water before it could work well. But since the water has been polluted, the color itself is like clay or mud. It's very difficult for these chemicals to bond well with the water that we use in spraying our crops. So this really affecting us. And whenever we use this kind of water into the farms, it reduces the fertility rate of the soil. So of which, if an acre of rice, we are supposed to get about 20 bags, we are now getting maybe 15 or 10 bags. So it's reducing. It's really affecting our yield.
Wow.
Right. So what alternative have you resorted to in terms of irrigation?
Okay, so currently we are depending on rainfall. So we did this project such a way that we could plant 2 times or 3 times within a year because of the river bodies around. But now that the water has been polluted, we are afraid to use them. So we are depending on nature. We have the major rainy season and the minor rainy season. But there are times all these seasons fail us because of climate change. So as a farmer, we don't even know when to start planting and when to even start harvesting because there has been a change. There has been a change in climate. So we've always been depending on rain-fed to irrigate our farms. When Akwasi visited the field, you could see that the canals were dry because we are afraid to use the river because we don't know the kind of chemicals within that can destroy our rice. So we are always depending on rainfall.
Wow. Tell us how much of your production has dwindled since the Galamsey activities became more pronounced in the area. Prior to this, how much rice were you producing? And how much are you producing now that you don't have enough water to do irrigation on your farm?
Okay, so in the Shama district, we are cultivating on about 500 acres of land. This year currently, rice production has really gone down because we could see that there is demand and we are not able to supply because we are not getting the rice. Because all these activities has been in the result that farmers are afraid to use the water or they will not even get water on their farms. So in that case, they are not going to farm. So most of the outgrowers that we have in Shama district are unwilling to farm this year because when they go in for loans, they are not able to pay their loans, all because of water issues. And when you are able to get some of this water, there is high demand for it. So most farmers are fighting over the little water that comes in. So in order to avoid fighting, some of the farmers have resorted to stop farming or stop rice production. And either they will do other crops like plant maybe maize or potatoes. But these farms were their main purpose was for rice production because rice needs a lot of water. So if he is not getting the water, then why don't I plant maybe something that doesn't need a lot of water, like maybe maize or tomato or pepper or even potatoes, as I said earlier. So these are now farmers that are into rice production are moving to different crops, of which it will reduce the amount of tonnage that we need to process in the Shama district. We are not getting them. It's really affecting the business.
Is the Ministry of Agriculture aware of your plight with regards to the decline in production of rice in the area, and what have they been saying to you if you've mentioned to them?
Okay, so this is a social concern. In every project, there is an extension officer that goes around to check on the farms and the farmers as well. But in this case, they're always available. They always come around. We complain to them that our water bodies are not good. We need to do something about it. Even if they can drill some boreholes or get us a bigger reservoir of which we can reserve some of the rainwater that falls into a big reservoir, then we keep on using it till it gets finished. We've sent all this plight. The minister has visited the farms. They come around, they talk to us, they go to Accra, and they forget about us. So these are the issues we are facing in Shama district. Whenever we send complaints, they go, they listen, but they don't come back to work on it. So we are even fed up. We decided not to even complain to anybody, but we will keep doing our own work small.
Wow, this is really shocking. At what point do you see that the whole rice production in the area can't come to a complete halt? Because if I listen to you correctly, you mentioned that some farmers have already now abandoned the whole idea of going into rice farming, right? So for the remaining rice farmers, at what point really does this all come to an end if there's no solution in sight?
Okay, so when there's no solution to this, what will happen is the market value of local rice will go down. So people will not depend on local rice anymore because they are afraid that whatever we produce, there are chemicals in it. So it means that whenever you send local rice into the market, people will not buy. They will rather depend on the foreign rice, of which is something that we want to also eliminate. We want to stop the import of foreign rice so that we all depend on local rice. But if we are not doing it well, and they get to know that there are a lot of chemicals, there are a lot of problems within, then it means there's no market value for it. Then our work is coming to an halt.
All right. Wow. It's very unfortunate, but thank you for speaking to us.
You know, I wanted to just get a final, what will be your final plea to the authorities who are listening right now? I know you mentioned that you reached out to them, they've come to see the farms, but they are not doing anything. They get to Accra and it's case closed. But what will be that final rally call to the authorities who are listening, duty bearers, right? The president, his ministers, the extension officers, and everybody involved in decision making on this topic. What will be your final plea or call to them?
Okay, what I would like to conclude is with the authorities in Ghana, I will urge them to make sure there is a survey done on our river bodies, especially the ones which we use in agriculture, we use for production. They should be going around all the river banks to check that if there's any Galamsey activities, it should be altered and it should be soon. It should be now. We should stop talking and move into action. You see, apart from this water being polluted, now when farmers are coming to farm, they buy sachet water to the farms, of which they also, after drinking it, they leave it on the field, which is also affecting the soil.
Right.
So it seems the Galamsey activity itself is causing a lot of problems, a whole lot of problems, because the farmer initially wasn't buying water, but now they buy water and bring it to the field to drink. So this another pollution that we are polluting the soil itself, and the water that we are using for the farm is also polluting the soil. So it's a kind of double pollution that we are adding to the soil.
Interesting.
So I'll plead that the government to take a quick intervention to stop the Galamsey activities. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally. But by the way, we are told that some military officers, right, have been deployed to some of these Galamsey sites to stop the activities of illegal miners. In the area where you are, Agyei, have there been instances where you've seen military officers clamping down on Galamsey activities in the Western region?
Okay, so I didn't see it personally, but I heard of it, that there are some military people that have been deployed to stop the activities of Galamsey gangs. But some of these activities might not be close to where we are. They are far off, of which we don't even see them, because they do it upstream and we are downstream.
Okay.
So even if there's any military intervention upstream, we don't know. We will get to know only when the water, the color changes to be pure. That's the only time you will get to know that now they've stopped every activity. But since the color hasn't changed, then it means no work has been done.
Wow.
Jesse, thank you so much for speaking to us. We really appreciate your time, and we hope that authorities hear your cry and your plea and do something about it. Jesse Roland Pra is CEO of Roland Rice, but our colleague Akwasi Annim, who brought us that story, is also joining us live via Zoom. Akwasi, many thanks for joining us this Sunday morning. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm very well. I think let me put Jude's question across to you. So we know military operations were deployed to stop Galamsey activities in the Western region. Where you visited, did you happen to see them, or have you heard that they've reached the Western region and are fighting the Galamsey menace?
I think the answer to that question was well captured by the gentleman we just spoke to, Mr. Pra. They haven't seen them. Myself, I haven't seen them on any of our major river bodies. That is Pra and Cobra. And if they are actually working, I mean, the resulting effect will be a reduction in the state of pollution of our water bodies. That for me will actually confirm that they are working. We don't see them, and the impact of whatever that they're supposed to be doing is also not being felt by the people who have to feel the impacts of their activities. We are lucky to have two major streams over here, and the river police or river guards that they said they were going to deploy, if they have actually deployed them, at least we'll see them on either River Pra or River Cobra. And I can say for a fact that I have not seen them or heard that they are actually on the river. And so this is the situation we find ourselves, in. At the end of the day, the problem we should be anticipating is the livelihoods that are going to be affected. There are a lot of people or farmers within the catchment of the Shama district who are actually into this rice farming, and with what is happening, they are either going to move away from the farming of rice to other crops, and we know as a country we import so much when it comes to rice, and that will also mean an impact on our city, because we need extra dollars to be able to import this. And so livelihoods have been affected by this pollution, because now the farmers are spending a lot of money in just transporting fresh water from town to these farmlands before they can water their farms. And the sad thing is that this irrigated project was actually financed by government in around 2009, 2010. And this was a project that was meant to actually provide the needed water, fresh water for their farms. And today it is sitting there with a lot of water in the river, but because of the state of the pollution, the farmers cannot even use it. And it tells you how we are wasting money doing projects that do not actually get to solve the problem we intended to solve.
Akwasi, we understand from various reports that the Western region is known as the Galamsey capital in Accra. In line of your reports, right, we've also heard stories about how community members in Jema are also resisting activities of Galamsey. Can you just create a picture of how the state of illegal and irresponsible mining is in the Western region for us, and whether or not it's indeed the capital of Galamsey activities in the country? Okay, so I know, I think we lost our correspondent in the Western region, but you know, it's a really serious.
Okay, he's back.
Hello, Akwasi, are you back? Can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. So I was asking you about reports on whether indeed it's the case that the Western region is the capital of Galamsey activities in the country.
Oh, he's frozen.
Wow.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, hello. Annie, can you hear me?
So if your question is in respect to...
Yeah. So, yeah, I know. I mean, we lost Akwasi Annim. We'll try and put him on again. But the point really is that City FM, I quite recall, and ChannelOne TV started this whole Eat Local Rice, right? Made in Ghana rice. It was a big campaign because at the time we felt strongly that the amount of money that we commit to importing rice into the country really at that time makes no sense, because it's never been an issue of capacity. It was an issue of capacity because you hadn't supported local farmers enough to be able to produce and farm rice in Ghana, right? So it was really disappointing, and it caught on. And what we realized was that the rice that are produced there, some of the brands here are of the highest quality, and there was a need to support rice farmers. So if now we have to come back and report about how our own activities are crippling local farmers, then I think that we are doing ourselves a great disservice. And it makes no sense importing $10 million worth of rice from Ivory Coast, who are just our next door neighbors. And you know,
so what are they doing rice that we can't implement
shocking.
In our very own
and the
country?
most disappointing bit of this conversation is that this is a country who, as far back as 2007, were plunged in a civil war, right? So how are they all of a sudden now doing better than us Ghanaians, who we've had relatively stable democracy, 30 years uninterrupted? So I think that we need to continue this conversation. It's quite disappointing, if you ask me, in my opinion. And you know, the Western region and Galamsey, oh my God, I don't even think
hand in hand.
It's a conversation we can exhaust today. But we must also make the point that there are certain communities who are standing up against this. A lot of the times when conversations around Galamsey come up, you know, make it look like even the community members themselves endorse it or support it, which is not entirely the case, right? They say, oh, it booms the economy, it brings money into the area. But we know from research, right, that communities that do Galamsey, after the mines are gone and the pits are left open, are poorer for it, because what they do is that they clear large farmlands to do this mining, and they don't even reclaim the land, right? And all of that. So we've spoken a lot about Galamsey, and I don't intend to use this show to go on again. But the point is that we need to all continue the fight. We need to all speak against irresponsible and illegal mining that is ravaging our lands and now coming after our lives. So we'll take a quick break. when we are back, we'll delve into our food and nutrition segment. You know, we have an interesting conversation. So keep your dial right here on Channel One TV. This is Sunday Breakfast.